Welcome to Movement Monday here on Heart of a Volunteer Veterans Podcast with your host, Daniel Hurd. Dan has been cycling one pedal at a time through 44 of the lower 48 states, 17,600 miles, and thousands of engagements to break the stigma of suicide. Dan's journey was halted when he was struck by a vehicle on a lonely Arizona road. Dan's mission hasn't ended, it continues. One step at a time, one episode at a time. Join Dan as he engages in conversations with guests that are on their own movement to influence positive change and bring hope. Again, welcome and enjoy the episode.
How's it going, everyone? It's another Monday. And again, welcome to Movement Mondays. I'm your host, Dan. Let's get this week started right with some movement. Are you ready for that? What is movement? If I was a dictionary, I could tell you something like the process of moving or changing of a place or a position or a posture. Maybe I could say it's an organized effort by supporters of a common goal, which may be a series of organized activities by people working collectively towards some goal. On Movement Monday, it's a bit of both of these and more. I will explain throughout this episode. The definition here on Movement Monday for movement is an individual or group influencing positive change and or awareness to themselves and others. At times, we may not even understand the impact we are having on others until later on. That's the same way One Pedal at a Time movement started. OPAAT started as a mission of self-awareness with Rabodan USA. And both started because of a friend that got me on a bicycle after my third suicide attempt. It was on a third ride that he said to me, "It's one pedal at a time, left, right, left." He kept making me get on the bicycle until at some point it got me to where I needed to get on the bicycle. It was an addiction and I needed to fill it. It was something that helped me get through the things I was dealing with. And soon I planned a trip to go visit the people I served in the military with and others that I had met throughout my life. I also needed to find my own purpose and calling in life, something meaningful for me to continue, to keep living in the moment and living in the now. At the time, it was the one pedal at a time was the only thing that seemed good enough to keep me living in the moment. One pedal at a time became my mantra for my journey. And as I traveled, I quickly learned I wasn't alone with the struggles of suicide. So many people I met were struggling or knew someone that was struggling or had struggled with suicide. It wasn't meant to be a movement. It wasn't meant to be for anybody in particular. It was meant to be for myself. But as I continued to travel, as you guys hear in episode 1, so if you haven't heard episode 1, go check it out. It was a great episode with Chris. What we talk about is the things that can happen for a reason, and things do happen for a reason. I got put into the right place at the right time at times, and purpose came to me a lot faster than I ever imagined, and I never imagined it the way it came. For me, I ran into people, and I met people and made connections. And the more I realized that there is a need for people to be involved. And that's what inspired this movement. That's what inspired to make the change to the stigma of suicide. It wouldn't have started without a countless amount of people, but it was particularly one family, a man and his family in Mobile, Alabama, that helped make it a reality. Now, they allowed travelers to come stay with them on their travels through the area, and I was fortunate to be able to have the opportunity as well. David Carden was inspired enough to get involved with the startup of OPAAT Movement. Matter of fact, let's give him a quick call and ask him why he wanted to be part and what inspired him to be part of the starting of One Pedal at a Time movement. Give me a second.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, David, how you doing, bro?
Doing good, bro.
Hey, just so you're aware, you're on the podcast right now. I'm doing a podcast series for Movement Monday, as you know. and for Heart of Volunteer Veterans podcast. But I'm doing an episode right now for Movement, and I have a quick question if you have a moment.
Yeah, man. What's up?
So, as I'm talking about movement, obviously I'm talking about OPAAT Movement. And so I wanted to ask you a question since you've been part of it since day one. Is what inspired you to get involved with starting the One Pedal at a Time movement?
Oh, man, that's a good question. So in the beginning, I think a random, incredible chance meeting through warm showers opened up a door, I think, that I would have never expected to see coming. And it all sparked, obviously, because you ended up coming to stay with me for a few weeks. And I, over that time, was incredibly encouraged, inspired, and challenged by what you were doing and by what your vision was with what you're hoping for with OPAAT, and really wanted to find a way to help make that dream come to life. And so, I was really inspired by someone who's willing to do what you had done, which is to drop everything for a passion you believe in that's marked by your experience of, almost losing your life, and then wanting to help protect other people from that same tragedy, and being willing to make a lot of sacrifices to make that happen. And so I was really, really encouraged, inspired, man. I really wanted to find a way to be a part of that.
Hey, David, I appreciate that you are part of it and that you are still part of it in ways. Just for everybody out there listening, I actually was supposed to stay at his house for, I think it was a couple of days, maybe a few.
Yeah.
And he said a few weeks, but it was actually 5 weeks.
Yeah, it was. That's right. About 5 weeks that first time. You're heading to New Orleans down to do some pedicabbing, I think.
Yeah, I was hoping
supposed to be over Mardi Gras right after that.
Yep, I was hoping to go down there to try to make the money I needed to start OPAAT, never mind actually get it started. So you made it happen, bro. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. And another thing too, Dan, is that, over this last year or whatever, since, a little over, I guess about a year and a half and all that, like, man, another big part of it, I'd say personally, is that I know for me on a personal level, walking through some of my own really, really difficult places and finding and seeing that you are the one who not just talks the talk, but also walks the walk, and being there for others. And so it's been a really great shared thing as well, not just, me being able to be on the side of it to kind of join in helping, getting things started. But also, I think you've been a really great brother to me personally. And I think those things all combined have helped me to really believe in what you're doing, in addition to always, everywhere we go, every single person we ever meet gets to meet Dan.
Yeah, and I love that about you guys and about your family, is that you guys share it and you guys are part of it. So, and something else that you were inspired to do is buy a bicycle, something that you didn't really do much before, right? Dude,
I hadn't ridden a bike more than a mile in probably 20 years. And all of a sudden, I was, definitely very encouraged to get on a bike and start riding. And me and Todd we were rolling with you down to New Orleans, man, and hadn't ridden a bike a mile in 20 years. And then suddenly was riding 150 miles over a weekend.
Yeah. And 150 miles in 3 days. And you guys didn't think we were going to make it after day one, after seeing me. So everybody else knows what we're talking about is I made it 15 miles after taking 5 weeks off of not riding at all, and then getting back on the bike and just acting like I didn't take 5 weeks off. And I ended up on the side of the road in full body cramps. And they're looking at me like, dude, if you can't do this, how are we going to do this?
Bro, I didn't think any of us were going to possibly make it to New Orleans after day one. But dude, as what you have said from day one and pushed us on day two to think and believe, is that one pedal at a time, man, we just kept grinding, and it's like almost 70 miles that second day, and we knew we could do it. And that was really, really encouraging, man.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy? For your second ride, you did over just about 70 or over 70 miles.
I mean, my butt felt like it, but I was definitely pretty surprised.
Yeah. Well, hey man, let me get back to this episode. It was great catching up with you. We'll have to catch up more later on tonight. And yeah, let's keep in touch.
Absolutely, man. Good to hear from you, brother.
Well, you too, bro. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's how the movement was born, on a ride from Mobile, Alabama to New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, One Pal at a Time movement's goal is to bring awareness to suicide while educating the public to be part of the change while creating suicide-safer communities. We need to get people more educated on having that tough conversation and having the community comfortable with hearing, I'm thinking of suicide, and being able to ask, are you thinking of suicide? Unfortunately, a lot of communities aren't to that point yet. And the way we change that is one person at a time. We educate people through awareness and training education. We at OPAAT Movement work with an organization that provides the training. And that with their 35 plus years of experience, they know what they're doing. Livingworks has many programs, but their biggest program that we're promoting today is called START. START is an online course that gives individuals the starting skills to be comfortable listening and talking to someone that may be suicidal. Again, OPAAT is honored to be affiliated with them, and Ride with Dan USA is honored to be an ambassador for them. And we're giving the online course away today. So if you'd like to be interested in learning about it, check out start.opaatmovement.com. And we're going to give 5 listeners this course for free. If you're interested in the course, all you have to do is email me your first and last name at opaatm@gmail.com. That's opaatm@gmail.com. It's never too late to join the movement. Livingworks also does other great programs like Assist, a course that I was able to take earlier in 2020. And we hope to honestly get somebody from the Livingworks team to come onto the episodes and explain more about their programs and about their mission as well. You can learn more about Livingworks at livingworks.org. And all these links will be in the description. The thing is we need to get people that have not already dealt with suicide, and those that have as well, more educated. The goal is to make suicide safer communities. So again, join the One Pedal at a Time movement. We are also about showing people how important activity is, not just in the physical, but mental health, usually in the form of cycling. Unfortunately, the cycling has stopped for me for the time being. And we already know why, but we'll talk about more of that soon. But so everybody's clear what the One Pedal at a Time's movement mission is. Our mission is to bring awareness of suicide while educating the public to be part of suicide-safer communities while promoting activities like cycling. So why was cycling stopped for me? Well, on October 22nd, 2020, I was in an accident where I was rear-ended by a vehicle and I was med-flighted to Flagstaff. I don't remember the accident. I don't remember anything going on into that. But it happened while on my journey of the lower 48 states for suicide awareness. In just about 2 years and 8 months on the road, and just shy of 18,000 miles, and in my 44th state of Arizona. Anyway, like I said, I was med-flighted to Flagstaff, and I spent 13 days in the hospital before I was discharged. We thought that I was going to be in the hospital for a lot longer, and I could have been, but I wasn't, because of a lot of that had to do with the drive and the attitude that I had while I was there. But it was also ironic that just a few days before my accident, my buddy Chris had reached out to me and was like, actually, you know what, Chris, would you be interested in talking about that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm right here. Let's do it.
Awesome. So, yeah, what would you offer to me like 3 days before the accident?
Well, we were talking, man, because we had done an episode, and you were on state number 44, or getting ready to actually go into Arizona, and I was taken back by the fact that you were 4 states away from being done, and then for us to actually start working on, 49 and 50, trying to work those in, right? And I was like, man, just when you're ready to take a break and this is done, come to LZ Ranger and just kick your feet up for a while.
Yeah, and I was immediately like, yeah, man, still got a little ways to go, but it'll be at some point.
Right. No, I was, just like you, I was thinking this was farther down the road. I mean, I still had a lot of stuff to do to get the place where people can come and visit, right? I've had family come, and they can't even stay, right? So yeah, I mean, I hadn't planned on it being, a few days later, but it worked out great, man. You know what I mean? It's, very humbled to be a part of this, right? So many people in your life that are, in your corner because you've been in their corner, and just to be another person in that group it's very humbling, man. Very humbling. So I'm glad you came, man.
Well, I'm thankful for the opportunity. I'm glad I'm here too. But another part of that element that we had is, for every time we've had a conversation, especially since our first podcast interview that we did on episode 18 there.
Veteran Chat, yeah.
You've always been pretty consistent being like, man, you need to start a podcast.
Yeah, dude. Because the thing is, you've got your message is very strong. Your message is very strong. And like you were saying, we from the introduction episode we did last Monday, it was a process, right? The farther along you got in your journey, you got more comfortable, and you made more engagements. You started doing speeches, and I could tell, man, on through your journey, your message was timely. It was on point, and you were delivering it very well. And I offering you an episode on the podcast was a no-brainer. One, to help you keep you on movement, and then spread the word. Yeah.
So that's going into the next thing I was going to ask is, the day after my accident, you saw everything going on through social media, I think it was, or I may have to message you. I don't know directly, but you immediately reached out to me and we made an accident plan pretty much.
Yeah, man. I was, this and everyone else will now, but I was concerned, man. I was concerned, one, because, you have survived suicide. And I didn't want you to go back there because I knew how important you being on the road, one pedal at a time, moving through states, meeting people, how important that was for you to maintain your mental health and the new Dan to keep moving forward. So, yeah, man, bringing you here, the episode, it's all a part of what everyone else is trying to do for you and what you're doing for everybody else. It's just a big circle, man. We just a circle of love we just keep doing.
Yeah, and I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful that I've given out enough love from what everybody tells me is that I deserve the love back, and I'm still not done giving it out, so that's the best part about this.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. No, you're doing good on the podcast too, man. I'm excited. It's a lot of fun.
Dude, it's going to be great, and I'm excited for everybody to hear what we have already done and what we have planned for the future.
Heck yeah. It's nerve-wracking, folks, but the podcast is it grows on you. We're only getting better. Only getting better.
Hey, with that being said, I'm going to let Chris get back to what he was doing. I'm thankful that he's always been very consistent on getting me motivated to do a podcast. And I'm thankful that I have this opportunity now. Life is a journey, and the journey is life. So the connections you make throughout the way help mold who you become and how things will end up later on in your life and in your journey. Again, so for me, it was the accident that gave me a new opportunity. It gave me a different chapter to start, but it also left the chapter unfinished. Now, if I wanted to, I could have sat there and been stuck in the last chapter still and being like, well, someone took my chapter away from me. Somebody, just been very negative about everything that was going on. And, in a lot of ways, I had every right to be. But that's just not who I am. I am about keeping moving and about staying positive, and that's thankfully something that I learned. So because at some point I will finish the other chapter, which is to finish the lower 48 states. Right now, the goal is to continue the movement, and the movement is continued in a different way. We're going to continue this movement through, one, the healing process that I need to take care of. I need to continue to heal my body so that I can get back into the last chapter to finish it. But that's going to be time and patience. That's a lot of stuff that's involved with that. Movement Mondays is the next way to keep going. It's going to keep me so that I can continue to get the information out there and share my story, my mission, and my movement, while also taking the opportunity to share other people's movements. So some of what I've been able to meet, some of the people I've met along the way will share their stories, their missions, their passions, but it also will be other people that I've never met and people that have listened to this that maybe want to come on later. So again, if you have something to share, please reach out. Let's get you on the show. One thing is for sure, everybody I've come in contact with and everybody that will be on this show, they all have a drive that has gotten them started, that keeps them going and gets them part of a movement. We're going to have lots of different people coming on as guests here, guys. It's going to be a lot of great stuff. A movement that we're going to be talking about that I'm really excited to be bringing on the show at some point is Jesse's Toy Box. Jesse's Toy Box started in the midst of a medical treatment. Jesse was given a small Power Ranger to help him get through his first iron treatment. His mom, Heather, now continues that legacy one toy at a time for him. I never got to meet Jesse, and I'm thankful that I got to meet his mom and meet a lot of people that got to know Jesse. He was a very special kid, and he every time I talk about him, I get emotional. And again, I've never even met him. So the fact that he's making such an impact is amazing. We're also going to talk to a lot of other great people, like volunteers, people that take what they do and do it just because they want to help other people, want to help others in bettering their life and the way of life that they have. One of those people we're going to be talking to is an American Gold Star mother. Her name is Leanne, and she is also a veteran. So she works to help veterans, but she's also a veteran. So she has that connection even further than most. She served as a U.S. Marine, and she's also part of, like I said, she's part of the American Gold Star Mothers foundation. But she's on it at the regional, state, and national levels of the charity. So we're really excited to be bringing her on episode 4, actually. Now, something else that, I'm going to put Chris on the spot again real quick is I'm hoping to get Chris to come on here to talk about Heart of Volunteer.
Yes. Yeah, I'll come on, definitely.
All right. Well, you guys heard it here. You heard it first here on Movement Monday. So, with Chris saying that, let me explain what I was going to get into before he said that. Is, Chris does Heart of Volunteer Veterans podcast to tell stories of veteran stories. And, it's a very powerful thing. It gets a veteran to get their story in alignment and gets their information out there. And it gets that piece of healing that I always talk about. If you've heard me on my social media, is talk about it. Be willing to listen and talk about it. That's how we heal, is by talking. So Chris is giving these veterans an opportunity to heal. But that's not it. That's not even his main focus. His focus is going to be continuing on to help give veterans a place to do some R&R time and have a landing zone here at LZ the Ranger. That's powerful stuff, and I'm really excited to get him to come talk about that. But otherwise, we're going to have other people coming on and talking, like friends from the road. We're going to have Alex from Bum on Two Wheels. If you guys haven't seen Bum on Two Wheels, me and him rode together from Utah into Arizona together. He was actually with me the day before my accident. And he actually brought stuff to me while I was in the hospital, and he finally was able to see me when I got here to Texas. And when he came to visit me, I gave him a 30-minute notice to come check out an episode and be part of this episode series. So we'll have him on episode 3, and we're going to be talking to other people as well, but besides him, kind of like David, where they're part of other people's movements or, doing part of their own movements. And we're looking to get more. We're looking to get other people's movements out there. We're looking, if you are part of somebody else's movement, let us know about it. I keep bringing that up because I am 100% serious. We want to tell people about the movement and whatever that movement may be. And we'll also be talking to people that are bringing influencing change like Nicole from Family Adventures. And now I say adventures because she does it for ADD and ADHD. She helps to bring the change of stigma to the change. She helps change the stigma and provide education for ADD and ADHD. And what inspired her was the fact that her son was diagnosed, I believe, with ADHD. And then later on, she was also diagnosed with ADD. So, we'll get to hear stories like that, and we're going to be really excited to talk about her story as well. With that, guys, we're just going to be wrapping everything up here now. And, I just want to get to a point where, I've been asked by several people since my accident, have asked me like, man, how are you so positive after everything you've gone through? I tell people all the time, like, I having a positive attitude takes a lot of work sometimes. It takes a lot of work at the beginning. And the more often you do it, the easier it gets. You know, it's kind of like at first having a negative attitude seems out of the ordinary, but the longer you stay in that negativity, the easier it is to stay negative. So with that being talked about, you know, I'm still a human being, guys. I still deal with the same emotions we all have. I've stopped allowing myself to stay in the negative, which is different than my past. I practice gratitude daily. I'm thankful for being alive, and I make it known. I tell everybody, and I make it known through social media and on this podcast. You'll know how thankful I am to be alive and grateful to be able to continue my mission. I have to stay focused on things that I have control of, like what I'm going to eat or my mindset. Again, staying positive is a mindset. I didn't have this before this journey, and I'm fortunate that I have developed it along the road. I was also given opportunities that gave me options after my release, like starting a podcast, a safe place and safe landing zone to stay at. This gave me the drive that I needed to stay positive. If I didn't have those opportunities, I would have been stuck in the same loop that I could have potentially been stuck in. So I'm thankful for the networking that I have built and have been provided. I lost bicycling, which is heartbreaking for me. It's something that I really enjoy and something that I look forward to getting back into. But I didn't lose my voice or my mission. The movement continues regardless, and I'm grateful for the chance. Chris has given me to maintain my movement, not just as a mission, but within myself as well. Hey, everybody. Next week, we start going deep with an episode with a friend from the road. Our guest, Alex, has traveled over 20 states and been on the road for more than 100 days. He doesn't have a formal movement, but it is a movement of self-awareness. Stay tuned next week. Like, share, and subscribe. Heart of Volunteer Veterans Podcast. Have an amazing week. Copyright Heart of Volunteer 2020.